All right. Good afternoon and welcome to the show. This is Benjamin Briggs with Alaska Business Journal, and today we have with us Mr. Rex Lamont Butler, Esquire, practitioner of law and member of the Alaska Bar Association. Today we're going to be talking about his practice, some legal approaches, and what lies in the future of law. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Butler.
Thank you, Benjamin. My pleasure.
How long have you been in Alaska?
Well, I came to Alaska the first time this summer of 1982. I did an internship with attorney M. Ashley Dickerson, and I went back to finish up my third and final year of law school. And in the course of that year, I decided I would come back to Alaska. So I came back that following summer in '83, and I've been here since then.
Huh. Sounds interesting. Give us some history of you, your qualifications, and any other ventures that you are involved with.
Well, I'll just say that, you know, um, in my family lineage, myself and my brother Cranston are the first to go to college in my family lineage. Um, we both graduated the same year, 1977, but he graduated from West Point and fulfilled a military career that spanned just over 20 years. I got my bachelor's degree from the University of North Florida at Jacksonville at a time when it was a very, very small school. It was fairly new because I think it opened in '74, and I graduated from there in '77. I had gone to the Florida Junior College first and done 2 years, and graduated there with my AA associate's degree, and then I transferred to the University of North Florida, and that's what University of North Florida at that time was built to uh, allow students coming out of the junior colleges in Florida to go there and to finish up 2 more years, indulge in their major, and graduate with a bachelor's. So I went to Florida Junior College straight out of the Navy. So after high school, joined the Navy. I did my 4 years. Then I went to college the very next day. As a matter of fact, I was discharged today. Tomorrow, I was in school and worked. A full time job while I went to school full time.
Uh,
Throughout my bachelor's, I worked full time, and you know, I was physically tired much of the time.
Definitely got to have time management skills, huh?
Well, yeah, you have to, and some kind of energy management as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I can recall that I worked from 3 to 11 Monday through Friday at the City Hospital in Jacksonville, Florida, and that of course was the busiest hospital in town because it was the City Hospital, and Jacksonville, had its share of ghettos and high rises and crime.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't unusual on my shift to be called down to the emergency room to take an emergency x-ray of someone who'd been knifed or shot
Mm-hmm.
or, automobile accidents. If, you were poor or had no insurance, then, the EMTs at that time would take you to the city hospital.
Yeah, drop you off.
Yeah. And so I took my classes in daytime, worked 3 to 11, and managed to, do my homework when I could.
Okay.
Some of which I did while I was on the job because as an X-ray tech on the evening shift, you're basically on call. So 3 to 11, I would work trying to help catch up for the end of the day stuff that had to be done. And then my shift, I was the only X-ray tech in the building. So if they needed something done on the floors, on the wards, or in the emergency room, or in labor delivery, that's where I went.
Okay. That sounds like an interesting history. In Anchorage, whether you know this or not, you are seen as a premier attorney. Um, what is it like having that kind of stature in this town?
Well, I didn't know that that was, how people saw me, but I know that I'm certainly a senior attorney. And so, obviously that creates some degree of pressure,
Yes,
you
indeed.
see, um, because you're expected to know a lot, you know, and while it's true, it would probably be difficult for me to be faced with something I've not been faced with before, different from when you're a young lawyer. The law changes all the time. And so, even though you have a lot of knowledge as a senior lawyer, you have to keep up with the law and the changes because it changes all the time. A certain the legislative group gets into play in Juneau and they change a law. Elections occur, different legislative group is in, they change the law. And so it just happens just like
So
that.
you gotta stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
So I got some general questions for you. Do I need a criminal defense lawyer if I've been falsely accused?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Um, in fact, you need a criminal defense lawyer before you utter a syllable to police, quite frankly. And that's one of the major problems in the country is people will not listen when they read those Miranda rights and adhere to them.
And they just keep talking.
They waive them like they're invaluable. They're the most valuable thing you've got going at that moment.
Okay.
Your ability not to be questioned about an offense, whether you did it or didn't do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. Um, what if I feel like the police violated my constitutional right? How would I go about that?
Well, if you feel that way, you need to talk to a lawyer, basically a civil lawyer, and you want one that has likely taken on the government before civilly for police misconduct. Now, there aren't that many of them here in Alaska. Alaska is a very conservative place, and people do not like to hand out awards against police officers here.
Yes, I get that. So, state versus federal court. What is the difference in criminal defense issues?
Well, in federal court, unlike state court you get discovery, a lot of it, and you get to know who all the players are, and you get their statements all up front before you go to trial. In federal land, they don't have to give you the names of all the players in the case, who's snitching on your client. You don't get that information up front, nor do you get their statements, their interview statements that were made by them up front. You have to wait till you get to trial, practically. Now, sometimes you get it the Friday before your trial starts on Monday, and sometimes you might be lucky enough to get it a day or two earlier than that. But your remedy is to ask for a continuance of your trial while you're in trial. When they call this person to the stand, they don't have to give you the statement until it's time for you to begin cross-examination of the witness.
Okay.
And so you have to take that time and read and digest that statement and go in there and do your cross, unless you can come up with a valid reason to put it off till the next day or the following week.
Okay. So you got to be a pretty quick thinker as an attorney.
You definitely have to be a quick thinker, and you have to have the ability to call on that knowledge that you have from your experience in the business to know what questions to ask, even though you haven't had this material for a long time.
Okay. So, drug addiction. How is this issue addressed within the court system and within your criminal defense practice?
Well, they put drug addicts in jail. And unfortunately, they know, but putting a drug addict in jail doesn't help person very much. You know, they'll get physically rid of the drugs, but not mentally rid of the drugs, you see. And as long as they have that mental attachment, when they get out, they're going to go use more drugs. It's just that simple. Now, there may be some exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, without treatment, I mean, I had a case, unfortunately, where my client received close to a 2-year sentence, so he had to do about 16 months, and he was an addict. It came time to let him out of jail. He walked from the downtown jail on 4th Avenue downtown, managed to get himself some drugs, got him, and overdosed, died right there. Never got home.
Yeah, we see a lot of that in the city. Yeah, that's a pretty sad story. I just believe that drug addiction can be addressed in the court system, just in a practical manner. But this is your interview, so
Well, you know, but listen, in that regard, you're right, but they have to address it,
hmm
you see, because you send a person to jail, you see, and you don't have a sufficient program in the jail to help a person get their head on straight. They can come out and start treatment, but again, you have that middle period of time, like my client who walked out of the jail, walked downtown, got his hit, and never made it home alive. His folks never got to see him. I can only imagine that they were all elated that he was getting out, and probably may have just been ready to lay out the red carpet to him,
yeah,
only to get that phone call. Yes, they can, they should, but I'm not sure that it's happening because they're cutting programs in the jail because of budgets.
hmm
You know, like the federal government has that 500-hour course in jail, and it'll take time off your sentence and everything. So they have a sufficient incentive for a person to take the 500-hour course. You can lose as much as a year and 56 days off of your sentence, practically 14 months, by taking this class. The state doesn't have that kind of a program. Now they say they have this RSET program. You know, I don't know how well that program works because state and their statistics talk about the recidivism rates.
hmm
You see, so they do have a program. Obviously, the program has its limits in terms of size and availability to inmates when you realize that a large majority of inmates have substance abuse issues, whether it's alcohol or drugs.
yes, indeed.
And but for that, the jails would not be overcrowded.
You brought up an important point. Recidivism. It seems as if, and I have some experience with this myself. It seems that the legislator cries out, the legislator cries out about recidivism and people not going back to jail. But yet, out here in the world, as an attorney, how do you view when a person actually strives to get their lives together and then they can't pass that glass ceiling because of their criminal history? In order for a person to do better, a person has to be allowed to elevate themselves. And of course, you have to pay the bill for everything that you've done in your past. But when is the bill ever going to be paid so that you can advance? And I do have some personal experience with that.
Well, see, this is the thing. I mean, what you're talking about is there are instances where a person really is set up to fail.
Exactly.
You see, and the system doesn't adequately address that. You have people when they come out, they get whatever money's left on their books, I'm not even sure they have gate money like they used to anymore. I think they may have
I,
gotten away from that.
yeah.
And so, person comes out with just a minuscule amount of money. You're out now in the real world. It's going to cost you to live and survive. You're going to have difficulties finding a job and getting started because, you know, some people will not hire a person who's been in jail, even sometimes for a misdemeanor. Excuse me just a minute. Hello, sweetie. So anyway, sorry for the interruption.
Not a
You
problem.
have people that come out of jail and they really don't have a real chance to survive. You see, um, sometimes they're already depressed when they come out. They have pain, not necessarily physical pain. They have post-traumatic stress disorder issues from their past, and they have difficulty now making it in the real world. So sometimes, and it's not unusual for them to go with what they know, drugs.
Hmm.
You see.
Yeah, that's the easiest escape. Um, so why should I hire Rex Butler?
Well, you know, we we believe in the work we do. Number one, we believe in our clients. We don't judge anyone. I don't care what the charge is. And we are competent in the work that we do. We have good knowledge here because not only do we do motion work, but we do trial work. Not only do we do trial work, but we do appellate work. And so collectively, the team that I have here, I put them up against anyone. So the question was again, why should somebody hire us? And I think, as I said, we're competent. We'll put our team up against any team in the state of Alaska when it comes down to criminal defense. Whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, state or federal court, however you want to do it. And we do also military trials. So we're competent in that area as well.
I'm glad to hear that. So, what parting piece of advice would you give our readers and listeners concerning concerning the law?
Well, first of all, no one knows the entire law, especially when you're a layman. When you are confronted with a situation wherein you have a police officer wants to talk to you about the commission of an offense, you should not say anything without a lawyer being present. In other words, adhere to the Miranda rights. You have a right to remain silent. That silence cannot be used against you. But if you waive that silence and talk, it will all be used against you, not maybe or might. It will be used against you in a court of law. So you should not be so quick. You're not going to talk yourself out of an arrest if an officer wants to arrest you. It's just that simple. 90+% of cases settle because the defendant has already cooked their own goose by making a statement. Okay?
Yeah.
If you want a chance in the fight at all, if you want a chance in the fight at all,
Close your mouth.
keep your mouth closed.
So, um, how would a potential client go about contacting your law office?
You call my office, tell them you'd like to have a consult, and the number is 907-272-1497. 907-272-1497.
Do you have a website available?
Yes, we do. Rex Butler Calendar at gmail.com.
Okay.
Well, that's our website. No, that's my email address. Website. We actually we do have one. I'll have to look it up, and also I can be found on Facebook.
All right. So it's been quite a pleasure talking with you today, and I hope to see you really, really
Benjamin,
soon.
God bless you, and thanks for coming in and allow me to share with you.
Okay.